I was 22 years old when my parents told me I would get married. I did not feel happy, and I did not feel angry. I felt empty inside. I did not know the man well. I had seen him only 2 times. He was quiet, polite, and serious. My parents said he was a good man. They said love comes after marriage. I listened and stayed silent because in my family, silence was respect. The wedding day came quickly. The house was full of people, noise, and bright lights. Everyone was smiling. Everyone was busy. They dressed me in a red dress and put jewelry on my hands and neck. My mother fixed my hair again and again. She looked happy, but her eyes were tired. She said, "You look beautiful." I smiled for her, but my heart was not there. When I walked to the wedding place, my legs felt heavy. Music played, and people clapped. I sat next to the man who was now my husband. He did not look at me much. He looked straight and calm. We said the words we had to say. We signed the papers. At that moment, my life changed, but my heart stayed quiet. After the wedding, we went to his house. It was clean and simple. He showed me my room. He said, "You can rest." His voice was kind but distant. I sat on the bed and looked at the walls. I felt like a guest in a place that was now my home. The first night was long. I did not sleep. I listened to the clock and the sound of cars outside. I thought about my old room, my friends, and my dreams. I wanted to feel love, fear, or excitement, but I felt nothing. That scared me the most. In the morning, I woke up early. I went to the kitchen to help. His mother smiled and gave me tea. She asked simple questions. I answered politely. Everyone was kind, but kindness did not fill my heart. My husband ate breakfast quietly. He thanked me when I gave him tea. That was all. Days passed slowly. We talked only when needed. We asked about food, work, and weather. We did not talk about feelings. I wanted to ask him what he thought about our marriage, but the words stayed inside me. I was afraid of his answer and afraid of silence. Sometimes, I watched other couples on the street. They laughed, argued, and held hands. I wondered if love really comes after marriage or if it comes only when 2 hearts meet by choice. At night, I cried quietly so no one could hear me. One evening, it rained. The power went out. The house became dark. We sat in the living room with a small candle. The light was soft. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "Are you okay here?" His question surprised me. I nodded and said, "Yes." It was a lie, but it was easy to say. He looked down and said, "This is new for me too." His words were simple, but they touched me. For the first time, I felt we were both strangers in the same story. We did not say more. The power came back, and the moment ended. That night, I thought about his words again and again. Maybe he also married without love. Maybe he also felt empty. The thought gave me a small comfort. I was not alone in my loneliness. The next day, I tried to talk more. I asked about his work. He answered and then asked about my hobbies. I told him I liked reading and writing. He listened carefully. He said, "That's nice." It was a small step, but it felt big to me. Still, love did not come. Days became weeks. I learned the house, the rules, and the routine. I smiled when needed. I did my duties. At night, I wrote in my notebook. I wrote about my feelings, my fears, and my quiet hope. Writing was my only friend. One day, my mother visited me. She asked if I was happy. I wanted to tell her the truth, but I saw worry in her eyes. I said, "I am fine." She hugged me and said, "Be patient." After she left, I cried again. I began to understand that marriage without love is like a house without windows. You can live inside, but you cannot see the sky. You breathe, but the air feels heavy. You wait for light, not knowing if it will come. Sometimes, my husband brought me tea without asking. Sometimes, he asked if I needed anything. These small actions were not love, but they were care. I held onto them like tiny stars in a dark sky. I do not know what the future holds. I do not know if love will grow or if silence will stay. But this is my story. I married without love. I am learning to live with hope, patience, and a quiet heart, waiting to see if one day, love will find its way to me. I woke up every morning next to a man who was my husband, yet he felt like a stranger. We shared the same house, the same meals, and the same bed, but our hearts lived in different worlds. This was my life after marriage, a life without love, a life full of silence. Our days followed a simple routine. He went to work early, always dressed neatly, always in a hurry. I prepared breakfast and watched him eat. Sometimes he thanked me. Sometimes he only nodded. When the door closed behind him, the house became very quiet. I cleaned, cooked, and waited. Waiting became my habit. I tried to make the house warm. I placed flowers on the table. I changed the curtains. I cooked his favorite food. He noticed these things, but he never asked why I tried so hard. Maybe he did not know how to ask. Maybe he was also afraid. In the evenings, we sat together, but we did not talk much. The television spoke for us. News, dramas, and ads filled the space between us. Sometimes our hands touched by accident. We pulled them back quickly, like children afraid of fire. At night, I lay awake and thought about my life before marriage. I remembered my laughter, my freedom, and my dreams. I wondered where they had gone. I wondered if marriage had taken them or if I had given them away myself. One night, I had a bad dream. I dreamed I was calling his name, but he could not hear me. I woke up crying. He sat up and asked, "What happened?" His voice was worried. I told him about the dream. He listened quietly. Then he said, "You are not alone." His words were soft, but they stayed in my heart. After that night, something changed slowly. We started talking a little more. Not about love, but about life. He told me about his long days at work. I told him about my loneliness at home. We did not judge each other. We just listened. One Sunday, he asked if I wanted to go for a walk. The question surprised me. We walked in the park near our house. Children were playing. Old couples sat on benches. The sky was clear. We walked side by side, not too close, not too far. It felt peaceful. During the walk, he said, "I did not want to hurt you." I stopped and looked at him. He looked nervous. He said, "I married because my family wanted it. I thought love was not important." His honesty made my eyes fill with tears. I said, "I felt the same." For the first time, our pain met. After that day, our silence became softer. We shared small moments. We laughed at a silly joke. We argued about small things. These were normal things, but they felt new to us. They made us human, not strangers. Still, love did not come suddenly. It did not come like a storm. It came slowly, like a small plant growing in dry land. Some days, it felt strong. Other days, it felt weak. But it was there. One evening, I got sick. I had a fever and could not get out of bed. He stayed home from work. He made soup for me, even though he was not good at cooking. He sat near me and checked my temperature again and again. I looked at him and felt something warm in my chest. It was not fear or sadness. It was care. While I was sick, he told me about his childhood. He said he learned to hide his feelings early. He thought being strong meant being silent. I understood him better then. I saw the boy inside the man. When I got better, I started to see him differently. His quiet nature was not coldness. It was habit. He was learning, just like me. We were both learning how to be together. One night, we talked until late. We talked about dreams we had left behind. I told him I wanted to study again. He listened carefully and said, "You should." His support surprised me. It gave me courage. Weeks passed. We were not a perfect couple. We still had misunderstandings. We still had quiet days. But now, silence did not feel empty. It felt calm. One morning, as he was leaving for work, he turned back and said, "Take care." He smiled. That small smile stayed with me all day. I realized that love does not always start with strong feelings. Sometimes, it starts with understanding. I learned that marriage without love is not always the end of the story. Sometimes, it is the beginning of a slow lesson. A lesson of patience, honesty, and growth. Not all stories are full of fire. Some stories are built with small lights in the dark. I do not say we are deeply in love. But we are no longer strangers. We are two people choosing to walk together, step by step. And for me, that choice is the first true sign of love.